Hello, fourth edition of Autostyle. Roberto, what can we expect?
Cari amici di Autostyle, la settimana scorsa siamo stati ospiti del centro stile Maserati, dove Giovanni Ribotta ci ha fatto appassionare alla sua nuovissima MC20. Oggi il nostro viaggio nel design auto ci porta tra le rocce emerse di Göteborg, dove sorge il centro stile VOLVO POLESTAR. Qui ci aspettano due amici sicuri di Autostyle, protagonisti peraltro di diverse edizioni in villa. Sono Robin Page e Maximilian Missoni. L'occasione è buona anche per ricordare che Robin ha una lunga militanza con Autostyle che risale a una delle prime edizioni e l'occasione è buona per ringraziarlo per il contributo che ha continuamente fornito alla crescita delle varie edizioni di Autostyle a cui ha partecipato. Con questo possiamo ora procedere e vedere che cosa hanno preparato per noi a Göteborg.
Good afternoon and welcome to Autostyle Design Competition 2020 100% Digital Edition. Thank you, Eric Dubois. Thank you, Professor Roberto Artioli. Today we'll begin a travel through architecture and car design, automotive, and we'll discover what's new in automotive concept design. Benvenuti a tutti alla nuova edizione di Autostyle Design Competition, digitale al 100%. Oggi, grazie a Eric Dubois e al professor Roberto Artioli, che hanno creato questo bellissimo evento, intraprendremo un viaggio verso l'architettura e l'automotive, il concept e il car design, e vedremo le novità. Facciamo partire subito un video per scoprire ciò che ci riservano gli amici di Volvo e Polestar.
Okay, so a warm welcome to the Volvo and Polestar design presentation for Autostyle. We're here in Gothenburg in Sweden, and we're going to do a 30-minute presentation both on Volvo concepts for the future and also Polestar concepts. At the end, we're going to do a Q&A, so you have a chance then to ask some questions, and hopefully we can answer them at the end. So for Volvo, we're going to explore the 360 concept and another project called TIO, and we're going to talk about the user experience, meet the interior team, have a go even on the VR goggles. We're going to talk about colour materials, sustainability, and then finish with a walk around the exterior models in our showroom here in Gothenburg. Then we're going to go over to Max, and we're going to talk about Polestar. So Max, tell us about what you're going to present.
We're going to go over to the Polestar Space, which it's a mock-up of the spaces that we're going to roll out all over the world, and we're just about to do so. And in there we will have Precept, our concept from the beginning of this year. And we will have the team there talking to me, answering questions, sharing their thoughts and their ideas. I think it's going to be cool.
Great. Now, I remember doing the presentations over in Italy, and we tended to start with a bit of kind of brand history, exterior design, go into clay models. Now, as we move into these concepts, we actually realise that where we need to start with the project is the user experience, and that's a huge part of our design department now. We have Tom here from Head of UX. Tom, tell us about what's so important for Volvo and user experience.
Absolutely. Well, we want to look at the user first. We want to understand what are they doing with our products and services, what are they doing in their lives, and how can we make their lives better and more enjoyable and more fun. And we take those insights and use those to create the details of our products.
So, very exciting. Thank you, Robin Page, Head of Design Volvo. Thank you, Maximilian Missoni, Head of Design Polestar. And thank you, Tom, the Head of UX. So it's very important, the experience that will drive us in the future. Grazie a Robin Page, lead designer di Volvo, e a Maximilian Missoni, head designer of Polestar, e a Max Stovicek, lead di UX, User Experience, l'esperienza dell'utente, che verrà trasportato nel futuro attraverso questi concept che vedremo in questo momento, prestissimo, via con il nuovo video.
And we've explored the 360C concept because it's hard to explore. I mean, we're talking a full autonomous vehicle, level 5, no driver. Tell us a bit about that project.
Yeah, so the 360C was about autonomous drive over long distances. And so what are people going to do? You know, they want to be comfortable, they might work, they might sleep, but they certainly have a lot of time to spend. And so we looked at things to make their lives easier and bring their lives into the space so they can work with it. So we gave them a lot of digital surfaces so they can bring their own digital media in. So maybe they're listening to music, maybe they're watching movies, or maybe they're doing some work.
And we looked at a second concept, which was Tio, and that was about, again, a full autonomous vehicle, maybe shorter journeys, single person, 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, so if you look at that scenario, we were thinking, you know, a smaller vehicle with a larger screen, you can just step in and out of it really quickly, and we didn't want people to have to touch a lot of things. So we looked at different interaction methods like voice, eye control, and gestures, so you didn't have to touch the spaces that were in a public space. But people also wanted to bring their own digital media in. Yeah. So, you know, giving them a space separate from the busy city so they can do phone calls, watch some digital media, look at things on that large screen that we presented to them. Or if they wanted to take in the surroundings of the city, that screen could present the route or maybe information about the city. You know, maybe they were a tourist using it. So those are some of the things that we looked at.
Fantastic. Sounds interesting. Now I think we should go and have a look now at the actual properties. So I'm going to now take you over to the models and we'll meet the interior team and listen to the stories behind the design of the 360C. Thanks, Tom.
Dream come true. The concept 360C is an autonomous drive car, and you can continue to work or having a conversation, nice conversation with your friend, and also relax and sleep too, because you have not to drive. As an architect, is a dream come true, because I really have a lot to do during my traveling, and not driving but relaxing and finish my work could be really a good dream. Un nuovo concept 360C permetterà agli utenti con la guida autonoma di non guidare ma fare tutt'altro. Si potrà rilassarsi, finire un lavoro, chiamare in videoconferenza degli amici, e quindi un po' un sogno che diventa realtà. Per me, che sono architetto ad esempio, potrei finire dei lavori all'interno di questa cellula Volvo incredibile. Andiamo avanti per scoprirne ancora di più i segreti.
Okay, so let's meet the interior designers behind this project. We have Lisa and Daniel. Welcome, guys. Before we go into the detail, let's maybe Lisa explain what this property is. It's not our normal design model, is it?
No, exactly. So this is an interior model, and it captures the design language and the flavour of the environment that we want to have in our interiors. But it's been modified so that we can sit 4 people in this buck and use the headsets to give them an experience through the 4 different interior layouts.
Cool.
So here we have the living room we can start with.
And Daniel's got his headset on, so we're experiencing what Daniel's seeing through his headset.
Exactly, yeah. We see what Daniel sees. And Daniel's on his way to work, commuting early in the morning. Maybe Daniel wants to pick up a colleague. How about that, Daniel? Do you have some colleagues that live along the way? Yeah.
So this is really exploring that commute to work, early morning. It could be that you pick up, as you say, colleagues, or even pooling in a sense. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And here you can also have a more private, enclosed experience. So this is linked with our ambience concept, where you can have a privacy glass and actually block out the world around you. And this is the band on the inside is really important, equally as it is outside of the car. It helps communicate to the people inside when the car is about to move. Moving into our second interior, this is the office environment. And this could be a place that you should rent as an office, or you could use it on the move, traveling. So you can see how the phone is placed on the table and it syncs then with the table instantly. And we're able to swipe something up onto the side window. And this is our 4th scene, and I think this one was really the most interesting. This, you could see it as your own private hotel room. It picks you up from the door, and imagine that you have an early morning meeting in Stockholm and you're going to travel through the night. So it's really a chance for you to look around, feel the space, and there's many feature content in here, like you can lay out your own personal belongings there in the drawer with your suitcase.
And this is really an alternative to short-haul air travel,
Yeah,
so it's going
exactly.
between 2 cities.
And so to relax, you can see the seats have moved to make them feel very, very comfortable living the experience. The film now, you can watch your favourite film before settling down. And we're going to go back one more time. Are you feeling relaxed?
I'm gonna fall asleep here.
Yeah. And just before you do, maybe we can give you a taste of the Northern Lights.
Oh, fantastic.
And getting to this point in the experience, I think everybody was so relaxed going through the final settling down stages.
I mean, we had a few moments, didn't we, where people took the goggles off and then put them back on, going, that was so good. Actually, I just wanted to stay in that environment, which was really interesting. How did that feel, Daniel?
Very cool and immersive.
And I mean, let's talk about interior design for Volvo then. I mean, Lisa, what's your key messages when it comes to creating an environment for Volvo? What's special about Volvo?
Yeah, I think Volvo has so many really good values that we can use in design. We're looking for comfortable interior, smart solutions, lightweight also, and an efficient design. A pure simplicity, that is Scandinavian design, and a very rich premium feeling as well, especially in the materials.
And Daniel, I know you have a really good connection to our students. What would be your message to up-and-coming young designers?
Just keeping it progressive, I would say.
Okay, so progressive, thinking about the future, maybe touching there on sustainability.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a great link actually to go now and for me to talk to the colour materials team and talk about Volvo materials and sustainability. Thank you guys, really good.
Thank you.
So, hi guys, it's colour material designers, and we're going to talk about the colour material design around the 360C. Linnea, you've been heavily involved in this. Do you want to explain the inspiration, the stories behind our colour materials for 360C?
So we wanted to create a room where you could feel really relaxed, and we wanted to use natural material for that. So here you can see the linen.
Yeah, Claudia's got some.
Yes, the white one here, and the wool is the colored ones.
So we're influencing from our living rooms and furniture design and bringing those influences into what is actually a room anyway. It's a sleeping car.
Yeah, so we wanted to tie into this Scandinavian feeling in this car. We wanted to make a wood floor that is reminiscent of driftwood, so what you can see on the beaches and shores of Scandinavia. which is basically wood colored by the sun and the ocean.
We think that we can split it into two areas. We have recycled materials, for example, recycled plastics, recycled fabric materials. We produce materials out of recycled PET bottles, so that's really interesting. And on the other hand, we would like to use really pure natural materials like Linnea mentioned, wool, linen, driftwood, woods in different kind of variants. So I think for us it's very important to have this very strong sustainable approach.
And ultimately we'll get to a point where we recycle natural materials, which will be the ultimate of sustainability.
Yeah, I think Scandinavian design is very much inspired by nature. This is when you arrive here in Sweden, you see this amazing light, you see this unbelievable nature. It's such an unbelievable great inspiration as well. So I like that very much, and you can feel that everyone who lives here kind of lives also this sustainability approach all the time. And I think we have a really nice history in Scandinavian design when it comes to reduce things, to keep things calm, to make it really as comfortable as possible for our customers, and to see the customer really as a strong inspiration as well. I think that's also part of a Scandinavian design.
Thank you very much.
Wood floor and recycled materials, sustainable concept, autonomous drive. I think this concept car, the 360C, is something that it's between automotive design, architecture, product design. It's something that you can just live inside as a kind of living room, a kind of studio, and it's very comfortable. And the Scandinavian design mood give it a very elegant interior part. So, but now we have to see also the exterior part. Materiali sostenibili, materiali naturali nella tradizione del design scandinavo, quindi un legno per il fondo dell'auto, dei tessuti altamente naturali e comunque riciclabili, e questo concept può essere un mezzo per unire l'architettura e il design e il car design automotive in qualcosa che può andare oltre verso il futuro. Ma adesso è tempo di vedere anche gli esterni di questo bellissimo prototipo, la 360C.
So, welcome to the Volvo Design Studio. We're about to go into what we call our showroom, where we do all our big presentations. We're going to meet one of our exterior designers and actually walk outside and have a look at the 360C concept. So, come this way. Hey Tijan, great to see you.
Hey, good to see you, Robin.
So Tijan, we've got here then, this is our showroom. Outside in our beautiful viewing area we have the 360C concept. So you're going to show us around, tell us a bit about the concept outside.
Yep.
Tell us about the design. What inspired you? What's the key elements of the 360C?
Yep. That's a good question. I can remember from the very first design brief. It wasn't to style an autonomous car, but it was to create a piece of architecture that moves. And that's a very different brief than you usually get when, doing the next S60 or S90, where it's about premium proportions, drivability, driver-centered passenger car. Yeah. But since this was a fully autonomous vehicle and quite a large vehicle, we started with that architecture in mind. Okay. And what that basically led for us to do was push those wheels to the corner to create very little overhang, but also to create maximum interior volume. Yeah. This really is a concept about usability.
Because that's the thing, this concept is no driver. It's got the different interiors that we looked at earlier. And tell us a little bit about this light identity and the 360 band going all around the car.
Yeah, that line that goes through the car is not just a styling element, but it's actually a communication element. One of the biggest focuses around this vehicle was the UX, or the user experience, from the outside of the vehicle. Usually we do that from the inside of the vehicle, but it was really to send a message to those around the vehicle and to communicate the intentions of the car.
And here we've got as well this is what we call the Thor's hammer then, the light identity, and that kind of blends into this 360 band.
Yeah, we have our signature lamp, Thor's hammer, and it definitely integrates into that band, and the sequence of lighting really shows how it breathes and lights up. And then it plays itself into the rear lamp as well.
This is then where the light identity comes around the back, and again, this is a very strong Volvo element, this vertical light going into the side.
Yep.
And the light as well. I mean, this is a really airy cabin with this the light here, but also the glass below. Explain a little bit about why we did that.
Well, working with the teams together, I mean, that was such a concrete desire to focus around those users in the car to get that maximum experience, to see the city around and down below. There's no droppable glass in this vehicle, so that actually opens up a bit of freedom.
Yeah.
And it was really an element of architecture with that glass cabin that really plants itself over those lamps. As you see, both of them come down like pillars, sort of broadcast themselves right to the center of the wheels.
Right
so
out.
that creates this hugging shape, which for us communicates that band or that solidity of safety in the vehicle as well.
Fantastic. Okay, so then we've had a good look now at the user experience, the materials, the interior design, now the exterior design, and we've touched on the second concept, which is Tio. I think that gives you a really good insight into what we're working on in terms of our future vision for Volvo. Of course, we've got lots of projects going on with our near future, but we thought that would be the most interesting subject for you to look at and learn and experience, and of course a chance to see our design studio, and more importantly, meet the team behind it.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Robin, to show us this beautiful new concept 360C. Also in the exterior part is a piece of glass architecture moving by the roads, and you can see everything inside it. It's a very, very new way to live the car, and I repeat, it's an autonomous drive car, so it's something totally new, it's totally new concept. Grazie Robin Page per averci mostrato anche gli esterni bellissimi con la Light Identity di questa 360C, una specie di architettura trasparente di vetro che vedremo sulle strade, viaggiare sulle strade, una guida autonoma per potersi godere pienamente un'esperienza di viaggio. Ma non è finita qui, abbiamo altre novità, altre chicche che ci riserverà la Volvo e anche la Polestar, e quindi colleghiamoci con un altro nuovo video.
This is the Polestar Mockup Space, a blueprint for the spaces we're currently rolling out all over the world. By the end of the year, we will have 50 spaces in China, Europe, and the US. In those spaces, you can configure your car, talk to our specialists, or book a test drive. We took the opportunity to put a model of the Polestar Precept into the space and bring in the team and talk to them about their inspirations and thoughts behind the design process. Precept, 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 precept.
When the company is at the beginning, you have so much more freedom to explore, to what if we can do this, or what if we can do that. And so I feel like other companies really don't have that freedom because they already have kind of like a set, you know.
It's also responsibility though. I mean, you say freedom and I totally agree with that, but I can also feel the responsibility of you have one shot really, and in that shot you need to do the right thing.
If I look at now the automotive industry is moving, you know, and how they're moving into this new era of electrification. I think being a Polestar is I feel is quite different. I see a lot of the other brands, you know, trying to kind of find their path into this new era. I feel that Polestar is doing a very good job at communicating what the brand is, what it stands for. And when you have a clear understanding of what that is, you have to focus on what you do best. I've always been a very creative and curious person. It is something that I think creativity is in every part of our lives. And that really comes across. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you're making cakes, designing cars, or it is a big part of it, because you find inspiration, and then all of a sudden you try to do something that is creative, and it comes across as something unique and special. In my 20s, still trying to find my path. I always had a sketch in hand, and always drawing and coming up with, I thought, oh, this is really cool. And so I remember this guy just being on the top of the building, and then he's just looking down, and he's like, hey, what are you drawing? And so, we started talking about design. He was also an artist. And then he drove me to this design school. And I walked into the student gallery. And my heart was about to come out of my chest, because, I have been looking for this special thing for so long.
Without knowing.
Without knowing, and then there it was. I remember in my head trying to come up with an idea on how to tell my boss that I needed a year notice, because I was gonna quit and go and study full-time design. It is the best decision I've ever made. It's such an exciting time to be a designer, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I would want to be working for Polestar.
The word precept stands for a rule, a declaration of intent. Now, it is important for us to be associated with the Volvo car group and Volvo as a parent. However, Precept showcases our design philosophy as an independent company. It embodies our brand values, pure, progressive, and performance, with its stunning proportions and a design language inspired by the synergy and sometimes the juxtaposition between technology and minimalism.
Being from Scandinavia, I think you notice very clearly that most Scandinavian design derives from form follows function, and all of it very simplistic but clean, and they try to help solve a problem. And I think that comes from how we are as people. We try to stand in line very well. We're quite organized as a country, I would say. And that I say, that would influence a lot how we design things. And you can see that in the cleanliness and the simplistic design features also used in Polestar. But of course here we try to push it a little bit more towards performance and expression with technical details and colors, and just a little bit more agile and a bit more specific than our normal, probably Swedish Scandinavian design.
The first word that comes to me when I think Polestar and I think about the Precept is athletic. So it is like volumes that are not necessary are taken away. So you just have the minimum shape which is required. To mix performance and sustainability together is the first time I kind of hear that. And it's incredible how at the end the result, it was quite well appreciated, and it looks good. Of course you're gonna fail. This is normal, and this is how you learn. But the fun part is how you're gonna jump back. My mom always told me that when I was a kid, our greatest glory is not to never fall, but to rise each time. And it takes time to understand this. I mean, when you're a kid, when you're younger, when you're students, you don't manage this project, or you don't manage to do a nice drawing, you don't have the best idea. But instead of suffering it, okay, you didn't do the best proposal, but now you know it's not the best proposal. So for the next time, you're gonna do better. And this took me a long time to just kind of enjoying to fail, because it's gonna be so much more fun to climb back. And I mean, we have that every day in design. I'm personally barely satisfied by my work. I mean, most of the time I'm like, could have done better. Just this, sometimes when I see the Precept, I'm like, yeah, that was
good. That was very good. Precept is the concept car. Electric car is the power of the future. So electricity is very 100% sustainable, we know. So thank you, Max Missoni, to open the door just to see how designer could think about the new future of the car on precept concept that is very ready to be on the road, on the street. So it's the future really next to us. Grazie a Maximilian Missoni che ha aperto le porte del centro stile Polestar per mostrarci il nuovo concept Precept, che è una macchina già quasi pronta per essere messa su strada con delle soluzioni molto innovative e soprattutto con un motore altamente sostenibile, anzi sostenibile al 100% perché elettrico. Andiamo a vedere qual è la filosofia di Polestar e ce la racconterà direttamente Maximilian Missoni.
Traditionally, the HMI, or human-machine interface, were a couple of physical touch points in the interior of our cars. Today, it's a completely different ballgame. We're talking about user experience, or UX. That starts much earlier in the process. It is when you go online, you interact with the brand, you configure your car, you're using an app to communicate with your vehicle, you're inside the vehicle, you use the screens, and things like voice control, proximity, eye tracking, and in the future, a learning algorithm that helps you take decisions.
If we look at ourselves as human beings, we are extremely relying on our sight, our pair of eyes actually. And it's good because that's how we navigate in life mostly, but it's also, we're very much subject to distraction. So if we, through sensors, for example eye tracking, can understand whether you're looking on the road or not on the road, we can of course use this for pure safety reasons. But it's also to be able to take away all the distracting moments from displays, for example. If we know that you're looking on the road, we can mute the displays. If we know that you're looking on a display, we can brighten up the display and we can even put extra size and focus on that actual information. That will make it a way more safer experience while driving and also more convenient. Working with next generation designs, which is why I like to be at work, there are always these challenges about, do we have the right technologies? Because technology is moving so fast these days. Are we addressing the right user needs? Because they are shifting, because things happen in society and people get used to new technologies and services and behaviors extremely fast. So I think it's challenging, but it's also quite problematic some days.
Challenging but problematic.
Yes.
Challenging but problematic. So using a lot of technologies to help the driver, and you see the eye tracking and all the other sensors that are in the car to prevent any kind of accident. So 100% safety, it's very important. Problematica, una sfida che può essere anche problematica, ma sicuramente a Polestar piacciono le sfide. Tutta quella tecnologia che avete visto raccontata all'interno dell'auto permette al guidatore di essere concentrato solo e esclusivamente sulla guida, quindi l'eye tracking per capire in che posizione siano gli occhi del guidatore, e tutti gli altri sensori permettono di avere una guida sicura al 100%. Ma non solo, c'è anche la filosofia dell'ecologia, della scelta dei materiali, e adesso andiamo a scoprire gli interni di Precept.
The car industry is confined to a system called linear economy. Linear economy means that you extract raw materials from Earth, you manufacture them into products, you sell them, you use them for a certain period of time, and then you dispose of them. By now we know that that is not sustainable. Where we need to go is circular economy, which means that products need to be designed in a way that they can not only be reused several times, but that ultimately they can be recycled completely. That is a huge task, and we're just at the beginning of it. Designers have a large responsibility to influence the industry and the customers into that direction. Polestar Precept is our vision for the first steps into a sustainable future.
I think all brands and the complete society in the future need to think about sustainability. That is so important.
I come from India. I am trained in traditional craft practices and textile practices. I have grown up seeing that we have a huge problem with waste disposal, not just in my country, but around the world. When you train to become a designer, you have to solve the problems around you in society.
It's quite interesting because Kamal comes from New Delhi. I don't know how many millions. I come from a tiny village in Sweden. I think it is 10 houses and just forest, lakes and natural all around.
And yet we
have the same view upon sustainability, so it's quite good.
Motivation.
And the same motivation. I think sustainability in general has never been designed to look premium. If you look at traditional car design, premium is always leather. It's a lot of chrome. We didn't use those elements.
3D knit is a technique that is borrowed from the sportswear industry, but the textile is not produced on a roll. Rather, it is knitted, fit to shape. We just did not have to fight against the material in any way to make it look premium. And I think we have to redefine what premium means in our modern times. We cannot stick with old school definitions of what premium is.
How we have done it at Polestar, I don't think you would find that in any other car brand.
Material of the interiors are premium but sustainable. This is very important. This is very important for the economy and the future of the car design. And we have the possibility of having very, very good material, but really, really ecologic and sustainable. And this is very important for the future of our planet, you know it. Quindi i materiali saranno premium, cioè materiali che possano essere anche di lusso come finitura e come anche filatura, ma saranno sostenibili al 100%. Questo è importantissimo perché l'economia permette di avere un tipo di economia circolare e essere assolutamente ecologico al 100%. Adesso abbiamo lo spazio per porre delle domande a Mr. Robin Page e Mr. Maximilian Missoni. Partiamo con le Q&A.
Now here with me, and we're ready to answer some of your questions.
What advice would you give students in design?
I think it's really about expanding their approach to a design problem. So looking at it from a much bigger picture, thinking about the user and how they basically experience the product, how they connect with it digitally, how they live with it. So it's really a much broader vision of what a design solution should be.
We designers, we used to be kind of tools, or design used to be a tool to get products into the market. And I think nowadays it's much more complex than that. We have more responsibility. We're kind of in between the industry and in between society, and we have to foresee trends, we have to be very sensitive, and we have to be very responsible. And I think that's the main advice I have, that feel the responsibility and be smart.
I actually think it's much harder for students now. I mean, it's so complex, and it's complex in the workplace, but for the expectations of students is not only the design work and coming up with great presentations and selling their ideas, but it's actually standing behind their ideas and really explaining them all the way through the journey of the product. So it is...
We talk a lot about failure, and I think it's something we don't discuss enough, because we always think students in the beginning of their career think that they have to be so perfect and they can't allow themselves to try stuff and then just fail with it. And we as managers, we have to give our teams the feeling that it's not about them, it's about there's them as individuals, and they are great and awesome, and then there is their work, and then we have to be open and say, look, I'm not sure, and discuss things. But it's a clear separation, so there's no problem to fail.
What is the most exciting part of being the head of design?
So many exciting things about it. I think for me, it feels a bit like, sometimes it feels a bit like having superpowers. You have an idea and you have a vague idea in your head and you discuss it with the team, and then everybody goes back and they start ideating and thinking about it, and then they come back with stuff that is way better than what you had in your mind. And I think that's the most exciting thing for me.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that part as well, where you get the team together and they start bouncing off ideas off each other, and it starts to build and everyone builds that energy with them. And then I think also the best part is before a presentation, where you see the models coming together, you see the presentations coming together. The guys are starting to build up their own excitement. And that bit is really enjoyable, right up to the point where then I need to sell the ideas for them, and they're all looking at me then to kind of present their work in the best way. And of course, at the end of it, that's fantastic as well. But it's such an exciting part, I think, when it all comes together in a great way.
How has Corona affected your approach to design?
I think there's two things. There's one, the physical kind of way of working. So, of course, we in Sweden here, we shut down for quite a minimal time compared to the rest of Europe. The first thing we did was send the guys home with their equipment. So then we started quickly adapting to a new way of learning and working together with teams and having meetings online. And actually, that really advanced all our technology and our way of working, which I think is a benefit, to be honest. But in terms of the company focus, we've actually looked now at developing quicker on offering online sales, simplifying our offer so that it's easier for the customer to choose. So it's actually started to influence the product and the development of the product quite quickly. So it's both speeded us up digitally, and it's also changed our mindset as a business. Max, what do you think?
I think trust is another thing I would want to add. I mean, we never understood how much we can trust people with confidential data, and also with just delivering without us being in control over the time. So having people at home really brought us closer together as a team, because we just agree on a scope of work, and then we find the best time to do it. And possibly you have more time to work to improve yourself as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we keep some of these processes going.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them have said have actually created space and time to think deeper into the work rather than being disturbed with meetings. And I think that's one of the great things that's come of it. The other one is then how we get together in a meeting and discuss things, and people have built up confidence, I think, to talk online and in a Teams meeting rather than have to be round a table all together. So I think it's been a journey, but it's been an interesting and I think a positive journey.
Sorry, I was mute. So thank you, Robin Page, Head of Design Volvo. Thank you, Maximilian Missoni, Head of Design Polestar. And thank you for your advices. We know that our students are involved in Autostyle design competition and really appreciate your advices. And I really like the sentence about Maximilian Missoni. Designers seems to have superpowers. So they can create everything they want. Grazie a Robin Page e grazie anche a Maximilian Missoni per i loro consigli. Noi sappiamo che gli studenti che hanno partecipato anche all'Autostyle Design Competition li apprezzeranno sicuramente tantissimo. Mi è piaciuta moltissimo la frase di Maximilian Missoni per interpretare lo sforzo creativo del designer è come avere dei superpoteri. Ma adesso possiamo lasciare la parola di nuovo al centro stile Volvo per dei saluti. e andiamo avanti con un altro collegamento. Grazie.
So I think that wraps it up for the presentations of both Volvo and Polestar. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've really enjoyed it and been inspired. If you want to follow us more online, we have 2 Instagram accounts set up. For Volvo, we designed Volvo, which is a lot about seeing our future work in terms of designs, but also a little bit behind the scenes of how the team works together, what inspires them. So, yeah, look us up and follow us and enjoy how we develop a vehicle.
And for Polestar, we have Polestar Design Community. It's great to see how it's exploded recently. People being so excited about the new brand, contributing with ideas. We have a competition running right now, which we will announce the winners pretty soon. So excited to see more from you guys on there, and keep going.
So thank you very much for listening in, and we look forward to seeing your design work in the future.
It was beautiful to see what's happening in automotive field, just going towards architectural field. And Robin Page and Max Missoni tell us this story that is only at the beginning. We will see more and more in the future. I have to say that this event was very interesting, but we have other events. We know that weekly we can just meet here, and next Thursday we'll have Lamborghini Centro Stile with Mr. Mitya Borket that will show us something totally new and secret, only for Autostyle design competition. Now I have to leave the space to Eric Dubois and Mr. Roberto Artioli. Goodbye and see you the next week.
Hello, that was the 4th edition of Autostyle Digital. Thank you, Robin, because we have been so long together into Autostyle that today it was like coming to your family, and the Scandinavian discovery was fantastic. So next week we enter 5th edition, and for the 5th edition we are going to open the door of Lamborghini Design Center, and that little door, we already saw it, is widely going to welcome us. So be there for the next 5th digital edition of Autostyle. Thank you, enjoy your week, bye bye.
Cari amici di Autostyle, eravamo convinti che Robin e Maximilian ci avrebbero certamente sorpresi con importanti progetti in elaborazione e realizzazioni d'avanguardia. Non ci siamo certo sbagliati, e tutti i partecipanti a questo collegamento avranno di che meditare su quanto è stato illustrato nell'incontro. Ma come dicevano i latini, il tempo è tiranno e dobbiamo già rimetterci per strada per andare da Mitya Borkert e la sua validissima squadra del centro stile Lamborghini, dove il prossimo giovedì, sempre alle ore 16, potremo conoscere ancora tante belle realizzazioni del design auto. Grazie a tutti e arrivederci.